So a few weeks ago, I went and received fresh to my door from UPS. The guy came up to my door and everything. Didn't leave it downstairs this time, which is super nice, of course. I went and received the new Sherpa Ops from Sherpa Watches. And I'm gonna review it in this video. I'm gonna unbox it, I'm gonna break it down for you guys, and I'm gonna give my complete, unbiased opinion on how I felt about it, how I felt with it on my wrist for a week, and what I think about it overall. So without further ado, let's roll the clip of my review of the new Sherpa Ops from Sherpa Watches.
Super fresh, super nice.
So when you first get the Sherpa Watches Ops, it comes in this black paper with super nice, super fresh Sherpa Watches stickers all over it, which I thought was kind of like a nice little touch. It was like opening up a Christmas present on Christmas Day. And inside, of course, you have got the original box. And I have to say the quality of this box is really nice. Sturdy, and rather than the traditional flip open top, it's got like a side opener to it, kind of like a box of sneakers. And I actually thought that was a nice touch as well, the way that they put the orange ribbon on the side. I also like as well that inside you get not just a one but a two-part travel case with Sherpa obviously on it. Now I looked into this and they actually use local leather materials for this as well. So once again, they've kept it true in regards to keeping everything within country, which is what they keep on referring to with this brand. Absolutely everything is German made other than the movement, as far as I'm led to believe. Now it felt like I was kind of like opening up a new iPhone, the way that the packaging is laid out. It's very simplistic, but it's more than enough. You of course have got a warranty card, which is all signed and stamped from Sherpa Watches. And then of course you've got a manual as well. It is in English and of course it's in German as well. It gives you the full instructions on how to operate the movement, including any other information that you might need to know about the watch. So inside the travel case, you of course have got the Ops. You also get a couple of cards with the Ultra Dive on there as well, and there's space for it in case you want to buy that one as well. I'm seriously impressed with how it's packaged. I cannot fault it. The fact that you get a travel case with this watch instead of having to buy it separately is a nice touch. So let's break down the technical specifications of the OPS. So the reference number is 001/0201. Kept quite traditional in the style of Vintage Enicar, I must add. Diameter, you're looking at a 40mm case, which is 13.5mm high with a lug-to-lug size of 49.3mm. It is also worth noting that it has a 20mm lug size. The case is stainless steel, DLC black coated with an EPSA stop bayonet compressor closing system. This is basically a new design based on the original EPSA stop cases. Sherpa Watches have completely redesigned this from scratch, and I have to say, it looks super fresh, and it works exactly the same as the principle as the original EPSA stop cases. Water resistance, you've got 20 bar, which is 200 meters, certified by the DNV. Now regarding the crowns, these are monoflex compressor crowns, not screw down, and these are actually handmade by Sherpa Watches. The crystal is a domed sapphire box glass with an anti-reflection coating on it. It is done in exactly the same tradition as the original Enicar Sherpa Ops. And I have to say, I really like the way that they did this. The dial is delicately domed dial with printed indices and Swiss Superluminova grade X1. So it's pretty damn bright. The lume dots of the indices form a unique diamond shape at night. And I have to say, when you look at this in the dark, it looks so nice. The way that they've actually loomed up the inner bezel with the orange, and they've loomed the sweeper as well. Pretty much everything glows in the dark on this watch. It's absolutely brilliant.
The minute and the hour hands have a satin finish to avoid strong reflections. The second hand has also, like I mentioned, been completely coated with custom Swiss Super Luminova Grade X1, and it's in the Sherpa Orange for great readability day and night. Regarding the movement, they are calling it the Mantramatic MM01, and it is based on the Sellita SW200/1 automatic. It's the premium top of the range, fine decoration on both sides with a gilt finish, custom rotor, and it provides up to 38 hours power reserve.
So I have been absolutely itching to get my hands on one of these for quite some time. It's very different when you're looking at images of something rather than having something in the hand. So to finally get the pleasure to do it now is super fresh. First impressions in the hand, it feels good. It's got a nice weight to it, feels sturdy. I'm really in love with that crystal, and I so love the way that they copied the exact design from the original Enicar plexiglass. But of course it is sapphire, so it's brought up to modern times. It's got the same principal crown where you pull it out and then you can turn the bezel. It operates very smoothly as expected, and then you can simply push in the monoflex crown and it'll lock it in place. Really nice touch, exactly the same as the Vintage Enicar Sherpa Ops. My only drawback that I would say in regards to this is the coating that's on the watch. It's a little bit too shiny for my taste. I much prefer the very matte looking one on the original Enicar Sherpa Ops, whereas on this one, even though it's not gloss and it's more in a satin color, it definitely has more of a shine to it than the original Enicar. Again, this is just personal preference, and if it was me, I would have liked it to look basically duller, let's say. I think when it's duller, it looks a little bit more militant, but each to their own. The hands, of course, wind very smoothly, as you can see, with it being a Sellita movement. Now, there's a lot of controversy that I've read about people complaining about, oh, it's a Sellita movement, etc., etc., and I'm not going to go into an obscene amount of detail about that. But what I am going to turn around and say is, what choice did the man have? If you want to learn more about that, there's a link up there in the top right-hand corner of the screen where I interviewed Martin, and he gave his full lowdown on the reasons behind the Sellita movement and why. It's a good watch. I suggest you check it out. Super fresh. Now the crown obviously pulls out. It has a hacking mechanism on it as well, which of course is different to the original Sherpa Ops, but it's a Sellita movement, so it has that feature on board the movement. The case feels really nice. It's got a nice weight to it, like I mentioned, and it feels really good on the wrist. You of course have got a coated buckle on this watch, which has got Sherpa on there as well, and the case back has been done in a true vintage Enicar fashion. As you can see, you have got a lot of detail on there, just like the original Enicars, and I'm really pleased that this was not overlooked. It would have been a really big shame. And to be honest, with the amount of research and detail that Sherpa watches have gone into regarding to producing this watch, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that they would have missed something like this. It would have been a no-brainer to not include it. So here we have it, where it's basically comparing it to the original Enicar. And as you can see, they are virtually exactly the same size. I think I calculated it was like about 0.4 millimeters thinner in size, which is basically just the crown guard, which is a little bit different in size. But how they wear and how they feel on the wrist, I'm not going to lie, guys, it's really exactly the same. You've got a nice weight to it, and it just feels very comfortable. The two main features that really stuck out for me in a big way was, first of all, the crystal. I loved it how they compared it to the original one. And the other feature as well, which I really like, is the way that they have gone completely overboard, but in a respectable way, in regarding the loom. I love it that the sweeper is loomed as well, and I didn't even notice it at first when I was first checking it out. I just noticed it at night. I was like, hey, hang on a minute, the second hand is actually loomed as well. It's really nice that they have the combination of the orange and the white, and it just looks really good. It's really bright, as you'd expect from Super Luminova, and it just works so well on a prestige diver's watch. Overall, I am super impressed with this watch, and it leads me to my final point of question. Let's talk about price. As it stands, the Sherpa Ops is retailing for €5,800. The question is it worth the price that is being asked? Well, the answer is yes and no. The Enicar bias in me makes it a little bit difficult because for the same price or a little bit less, I could actually have an original Enicar Sherpa Ops for that price. On the other side, as a collector, if I want something that's all built, well, virtually in-house, let's say, and I want something modern and robust and more reliable, then the answer would be yes. I can understand why the price is a lot higher than most people would expect, given the amount of research and the technology that has gone behind with these watches. These are not just simple homage watches, they have invented or reinvented older technology into new forms, and this of course takes a lot of time, research and money. There's an expression in English that we have called "you have to crawl before you walk." And when it comes to Sherpa watches, these guys didn't even walk, they were running. And I admire that for a new startup company. I can only imagine in the 2 to 3 years to come, where will Sherpa watches be? With an abundance of vintage Enicar material out there for them to play around with, one can only imagine what they will come out with next.
So there we have it, guys. That was my take on the new Sherpa Watches Ops, or the OPS as some people refer to it. Guys, as always, until next time.